Hello beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, you are welcome. So in today's video we are talking about locum nursing and everything you need to know about locum nursing jobs. So we are going to be talking about what locum nursing is, where to get locum nursing jobs, um how the pay is, and also be considering things to know if you want to actually venture into locum nursing as a job, full-time job, or as a side hustle. What is locum nursing? Locum nursing is basically you as a nurse working temporary nursing shifts and not being permanently or employed by that organization or hospital. So how it works is that basically either a nurse or a doctor can call you up to cover up for a person, for a nurse that cannot be on shift that particular day or that particular week or that particular month, as the case may be. So it can be very, very impromptu. Someone can just call you and be like, are you going to be available for a locum shifts today? And if you're going to be available, you say yes, and then you go at ASAP like that. So, where can we get this? Where can local nurses work? So, local nurses they normally work in private hospitals, mostly private hospitals, because government hospitals they hardly take local nurses formally, but it can be done informally, underground work, that kind of thing. But then, private hospitals you can work as a local nurse there. You can also work in things like NGO and outreach programs. You can work in a school as a local nurse, a temporary nurse there, and it can be very, very short. It can be maybe 1 or 2 days or 3 days, something like that. And you can also work as a private nurse, a local nurse, and that's a private nurse. Like someone can just call you to come and take care of their elderly mom or wherever for this day, but it's not like you or their particular nurse. It's just a local business, just a local job. So yeah, that is the kind of things that's the kind of places that locum work and locum nurses can work. Typically, locum nurses they cover daily shifts, weekly shifts, monthly shifts, which is rare. But then most times emergency, like it just comes up impromptu. You can just be at home preparing to have your day off, maybe on a Saturday or Sunday, and someone calls you and be like, are you going to be available for a local job today? So it's up to you to agree or not, something like that. Or then you can also get them through groups and all stuff like that. But then what are the one thing I would say is that before you go for any local job, you have to discuss with whoever is calling you up the pay. You have to discuss the pay, and also you have to discuss when you're going to be paid. Because sometimes they pay you before you go, and then sometimes they pay you after. So you just have to know when you're going to get paid. Because if it's in a case of a weekly locum job, are they going to pay you before you start the job at all, while you're in the job, or after the whole week, then you'll be paid? Obviously, you know, my recommendation is better for them to pay you before you go, but then sometimes in cases of trust and all, you can actually go when you're done with the whole work, and then they will not pay you. So now let's talk about the requirements of being a local nurse. The basic requirement is just you just have to be a nurse. That is the most important thing. You just have to be a nurse. If you're a nurse, you can go for a local job. But then the thing is that some places require some different little things. Like some places say that you must have at least 1 to 2 years clinical experience. So if you have 1 to 2 years clinical experience, you're free to go. Most places I know is that you're a nurse and then you have 1 to 2 years clinical experience. That is it. But then there are some other places that will ask you for things like your BLS certificate, your ACLS certificate, stuff like that, especially when you're working with organizations or firms. That's where they ask for those certifications. So it just depends. And before you go, you have to make sure that you are qualified to work there before you actually go. So that's just one thing we should keep at the back of our mind. So if you're a student nurse and you decide to go into locum, because yeah, most of us can do that. If you decide to go into locum nursing as a student nurse, just let them know your level, and then if you don't have up to 1 to 2 years clinical experience, still let them know. So they might still take it, they might not. Just let them know and be um transparent as possible with them. So now let's talk about how to get these local gigs. And Yeah, the first way I would say is through direct hospital contact. You can just go to a hospital and let them know that you are available to cover shifts in case any of the nurses will not be able to come up. Either it might not be that particular, it might be anything. So most times these hospitals they have lists of names that where they write local nurses. So if someone is not available, they can just call you and it can be very impromptu. And then they can just call you and be like, are you going to be available today? So that kind of thing. So you can just reach out to any hospital that you know. But most times it's effective if you know a nurse there, if you're friends with someone there already, either the nurse or the matron or the HR person. So if you're friends with them or you know them one on one, it will be easier that way. And then they can call you at any time if a local space is available. Okay. So another way I would say is by through relationships, through having through your fellow nurses. Someone can just call you out of the blues. Someone can just call you randomly to come in for local jobs, especially if you're known to cover local jobs. So yeah, it's just kind of networking way. Then next one is through sites. There are some websites that give out that post locum jobs, and then they post locum jobs that are closer to you. So if you're going into that site, most times you have to put in your location so that you will know when a locum job that is closer to you gets to them, it's always going to come into your inbox. So one of the sites is prolocum.com. Yeah, I'll write it on the screen. Prolocum.com. So yeah, if you go into that site, first of all, you have to open an account with them. You then register. This video is not sponsored. They should sponsor me. But yeah, yeah, you have to put in, yeah, create an account with them. After creating an account with them, you have to register as a locum. Then when there's local jobs that are closer to your area, you'll be able to get info. Then another site is medjob medlocaljob.com. Medlocaljob.com. I hope I'm getting it right. I'll put it on the screen. Medlocaljob.com. So yeah, the same thing to apply there. You get to the site, you register, and then you'll be able to get info from them regarding any local job that might be available closest to you. Then another way I would say is through WhatsApp groups and through Facebook groups. There are some WhatsApp groups and there are some Facebook groups. Sometimes it's just within the WhatsApp group can be within people that you know, and then you just enter and there's someone wants a covering of shifts in local. So yeah, you can go in and be able to do that. And then if it's on Facebook and you're looking for groups to join, you can just search on Facebook locum jobs or locum nurses, yes, locum nurses, and then groups that does that or that are involved in those kind of job info will come up, and then you can join, request to join and not join, and then you'll be able to get info. And then another way I would say is through, okay, this is not really very so effective, but then let me just mention it, is through online job platforms like Jobberman, Indeed Nigeria, where again, yeah, some of those sites like that. They normally do have local jobs, but then it goes fast. It goes away very fast, and sometimes the issue is that it might not be close to you. That is the issue. If you're in Lagos, yeah, you could get, just depending on which part. Just like might not be, that is just the major issue. It might not be close to you, but then you can just always go there and look for if there's going to be any local job available. So guys, that is basically the ways you can get to local job. But then for me personally, if you're going into local as a full-time job, or let's talk about going to locum as a full-time job or as a part-time. So if you're going into it as a part-time, maybe you're a student and then you also want to be doing local jobs to improve your clinical skills and also to get more pay, it's good to go for it as a part-time something or as a side hustle, something like that. Because, and also you have to understand that it requires a lot of energy because you'll be going from place to place, like you'll be going from distance to distance. So that aside, and if you're also thinking about doing it as a full-time job, I don't really know, but I personally, I will not really advise because it's really unstable. Today you might get a local gig, tomorrow you might not have, so it's really unstable. You cannot really depend on it. So it's advisable that you have a job normally that you're doing, either a nursery job or whatever job you're doing normally, maybe a business, and then you're doing this as a side hustle. So most people that are also into remote nursing and all, they can also decide to just do locum jobs because it will help them to keep their clinical skills at the peak you get. So yeah, that is basically it for this video, guys. I hope it was helpful. If you're going to go into local nursing, let me know in the comment section. And also the site that I mentioned, let me know how that goes, because yeah, I know people that have applied, that have registered in there, and then are getting info concerning the local job, but then the thing is actually get landing one before another person, you get, stuff like that. So guys, let me know how it goes, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.